personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharp Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharp Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharp Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Shortwave Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. The number to call if you want to chat with me after the first break, 585 346 3000. You know, I live in New York City, and I was walking around Manhattan and Queens, as I often do, and I noticed how people are dressed now sometimes, what they're wearing. It's very hot, humid. And it made me think of something because I saw somebody in this heat wearing a mask. And I remembered years ago, before the lockdowns in New York State, once in a while you'd find some people wearing masks on their face. But it was usually, and if you live in New York City or been in New York City, you know what I'm talking about. You go back to, say, the 2010s, right? The 2015s, right in that area. If somebody was wearing a mask, they were almost always an older Asian person, an older Asian man, older Asian woman, usually. That was the most common that you would see. Non-threatening, right? Non-threatening. People were worried or scared about their health, or this is back when people were talking about the bird flu, that kind of thing coming out of Asia. So, as you probably know, large Asian community in New York City. And if you saw somebody with a mask, it generally was that person. Well, that's one piece. But a second piece, in New York City, because we care, and I know you feel the love, we've decided, and of course throughout the country this happened too, but this is many years ago, that plastic bags are evil. They're bad. And so you have to pay extra for them. California's that stuff too, right? A lot of people do it now. But we were at the forefront of making you not have bags. So at first it was you had to ask, would you like paper or plastic? Which just made our life a whole lot worse and didn't do anything for the planet or anything else. But it was a wonderful virtue signal. I could virtue signal by saying, I would like paper. See, I'm a good person, or whatever. Then we went to a second piece, and that was bring your own bag. So you said, I have my own bag. Now, if you had your own bag back in the day, you were the most virtuous. You were better than all the other people. You don't want paper or plastic. You have your own bag. And if you really wanted to show people how virtuous you were and how much better you were than them, you would have some type of symbol on your bag showing it was made from recyclable material. I mean, that gave you max points. You were really cool then, way better than all of us. And that person was usually a younger woman or an older woman, but it was almost always a woman at that point when that was happening. It was very rare a male be doing it, usually a younger woman. And again, not threatening, just somebody who wants to show everybody how much better they are than you. And they would have their bag and virtue signal and be awesome. Of course, then we said in New York and other places, but New York, we said, oh, that virtue signaling is awesome. We could try to pass some kind of law or make some kind of change that would actually affect New York City or New York State. Or we could pass a law in New York City basically forcing people to have to bring their own bags or stores to charge for bags. That won't solve anything, but it will make life harder. And we as a city can virtue signal and show how cool we are without solving anything. And the city council in New York City said, great idea. Let's do that. We can virtue signal, solve nothing, and show people how cool we are. And they did it. So now people walk around, lots of people, without, with their own bags, in the stores with their own bags. Okay. Well, then lockdowns came. And then they said, well, we could follow the older Asian person model and let people wear masks if they want to. Or if they want a virtue signal, they want a virtue show how cool they are. I'm better than you. I'm wearing 4 masks. Therefore, I'm better than you because you're only wearing 1 or none. So clearly, I'm a better person. They could do that if they want to. That's fine. Or we could basically mandate it and force people to do so, take away their licenses and such if they don't. And then again, we can virtue signal. Again, solve nothing, make life harder, but virtue signal with a simple law. And they went, it's a great idea. That's as good as that bag thing. Let's do that too. And they did. So now we got people wearing masks and carrying bags into stores. What could go wrong? Literally everything. Now, during the lockdowns, we said something else. What if, with masks and bags now being the norm, in fact, basically mandated, why don't we make sure that we close down schools and work so that young men have nothing to do? They can just sit in the streets with nothing to do. Then let's lock things down so that goods and services are hard to get, forcing people into a black market and giving gangs literally free labor. Why don't we do that? And the city council in New York City and the state assembly in New York State said, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And they did. And we had massive crime. Masked people coming into stores with bags, robbing. And they said, well, Larry, that was during lockdowns. That's the problem. Lockdown. See, that was special, Larry. You're just mean. That was special. Hold on now. Here's a true story. Family member of mine, last year, walks into a store with her own bag. So, of course, you walk into a store to buy stuff, you put it in your own bag. It's what you do. That's what they've taught us to do. Right? And this store she was in, and this was last year in New York City, still asks you to wear a mask in the store. I know some of you, your head wants to explode when I say that, but that exists here still. So she complied, and she did. She's in a store with a mask and her bag. She fills up her bag with her stuff. Phone rings. She leaves the store, takes the phone call, and begins to walk home. Didn't pay for anything. Basically stole the goods. I'm not making this up. True story. She calls me up and goes, what do I do? I think I just robbed the store. I'm not joking. I just robbed the store. What do you mean rob a store? I just walked out. I said, look, go back, tell them what happened. Pay. It's fine. They can't catch you because you were wearing a mask. And they can't stop you when you're filling your bag up because everyone fills their bag up. So go back. She went back. She paid. That actually happened. Now I thought to myself, wait a minute. If she does that by mistake, how many people are not doing that by mistake? And lo and behold, it's been a year since that time. And this is now an epidemic in New York City. We have set up a system to ensure that we will have lots and lots of crime. Because it is now normal for not older Asian people or young women to be carrying a bag and a mask. It is now natural for everyone to do so. And you can't say anything because if you do, you are a bad person. So if you see somebody who's got a mask on in your store, who's filling their bag full of goods, you can't say anything. If you say something, you're a bad person. And don't let that person be of another race than you. They better be the same race as you. Because if it's not the same race as you, you better get security guards of all hues. You better have the color of the rainbow for your security people. Because don't you dare have the wrong race connect. Race to race. New York City. Otherwise, oh my God. Not just you, you're getting sued. How are you going to prove the person was robbing? Even though they literally had their hand on the shelf, empty the shelf, into a bag and are heading towards the exit. Well, you can't prove that they were going to rob. And if your race is opposite or different, well, now you're also racist on top of it. You let them walk out the door. I wonder why there's so much crime in New York City. We literally begged for it. We begged for it. We literally said, will you please rob all the retail stores? And people said, oh, okay. I mean, if you're going to beg me, sure, I'll rob. And then, since I haven't had a job for years from the lockdowns, and you taught me I can make money doing this, well, why would I have a job? I don't want to have a job. I can do this for a living. This is fun. It's easy. I make tons of money. I feel super cool. I get all the goodies that I want. I'll just do that. Yes, we set this up, and now we're confused. We prepped it perfectly, and now we're angry. I'm begging you to hurt me. You hurt me, and now I'm upset. I basically described New York City and New York State dealing with crime. Am I wrong? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio. WYSL, Rochester, New York. Back with your calls and your internet chat after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, informed by our Constitution, our laws, and traditions, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential if we're going to restore our society and safeguard our rights. New York Citizens Audit is a volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law? That in 2020, there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties, that there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer, and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. 585-346-3000 is the number to call. And before the break, I was talking about how New York has set up a system to encourage crime, has set up a system to make things worse. Now, I know what some of you are saying. You're thinking to yourself, well, that's fine, Larry. You're talking this trash, but that's fine, because New York's finest will show up and arrest the people, put them all in jail, and we'll fix it that way. The Giuliani way. We'll do that. Well, in theory, maybe in some other city, that might be what happens, but that's not what happens in New York City at all. In fact, New York State, Patty actually brings up a point. She says, stores don't prosecute shoplifters because it costs them more to do that than it's worth. Well, yes and no, both, right? It does cost them a bit, that's true. But one of the reasons why is because we don't do anything about it. There is an insane, if I can remember the number, The numbers I'm going to bring up, I don't know off the top of my head, so I may be off on this, but it's something like this. So I'm going to say it just so you understand the strength of this. There's something like 300 criminals across the state, across the city, that do over half of the crimes. That number may be off. It's something like that, just to show the point. If you just locked up those 300 people, that's it. You cut the shoplifting crime by half. That's crazy. But it's a fact. But we don't do that. And go, Larry, you don't want to be locking everybody. I don't. I don't want to lock everybody up. I don't. In fact, you know, I said it before. If you're a first-time offender, I want to be lenient with you. And some of you get mad at me when I say it, but I do. If you are a first-time offender, I want to give you the chance to square your life away. I want to give you a chance to take this arrest as a life-changing moment and to fix your life. But we're not talking about first-time offenders. These people have been arrested 6, 7, 8, 10 times. The average in certain cases is 15. This is not a first-time offender. 10, 12 times. I don't want to be lenient with you anymore. You get the one shot. Be lenient first time. After that, what are you doing? Yes. Patty goes on to say, I knew someone who shoplifted for a living. Yes, that's a thing. You may not know this, but in New York, shoplifting, I'm not joking, do your own homework, is an over $4 billion industry. Yes, over $4 billion industry. Shoplifting. I tell you all that people say, Larry, you know what causes crime? And I say, what? They say poverty. That causes crime. Absolutely not true. Black market causes crime. When you have more of a black market, you will have more crime. If you have a smaller black market, you will have less crime. Now, don't get me wrong, poverty and the black market often go together, but not always. Not always. Black markets create crimes. Incentives create crimes. Think of all the white collar crimes we have. Billions of dollars. These people are not poor. There's incentives. There's a black market. That's where those go. So yes, she goes on to say she would get a list of needed and wanted items and went and got them for a small price. Now she's in prison. This, Patty, I'm glad you brought this up. This part bothers me the most because the ringleaders rarely go to jail. We do sometimes get them. It does happen. But compared to the average person, and the sad part, Patty, is your friend went to prison. The ringleader did not care at all. I know this. Just let them go. Didn't care. And replaced her with someone else. And now someone else is doing that job. Or that person's in jail and someone else did that. The black market is what spurs crime. Now, again, poverty often goes together with that, right? So someone who is not doing well economically says, ooh, here's a black market opportunity for me to make lots of money. And they take it. And they often think, if I don't take it, then I can't pay my bills. So I take it. If we eliminate the black market, that goes away. The average person, to your point, Patty, who's doing bad things, I don't know your friend, but I know you. And I doubt your friend was like, I can't wait to do crimes. I don't think your friend thought that. I think your friend thought, I'm in a tough spot. Here's an opportunity. It's in the black market. I'm going to go do it. If that opportunity wasn't there, she probably wouldn't have become a criminal. And that's the point. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yes. So I'll have, Patty's got a lot of stuff. I'll give one more Patty. She says the most shoplifted items before the lockdowns were formula, diapers, bread, bologna, and cheese. It's crazy how you know that, Patty. I love that. Now it's clothing and alcohol. I've seen that. And there's a second thing happening in New York State right now. I'm sorry, New York City. I'm not sure if it's happening in states yet. It'll get there. If you don't live in New York City, don't worry. We'll infect you soon. Don't worry. You will be infected. It might take some time. You're getting infected. Now we have people who are acting like it is South American cartel land. I wonder why that's true in New York City now. But they literally are coming by stores or restaurants that have seating outdoors, and they come out with a gun or a knife or something and threaten and say, give me your cell phones, give me your wallets, give me your watches. That's now a thing. Well, they have bags and they have masks. No one notices. They walk down the street with bags and masks, no problem. Walk down the street. Oh, here's 6 people enjoying a meal. Let me take all their things and keep walking. Yeah, that's a thing with a mask and a bag. It is insane, but that's what's happening now. And to be forward, we asked for it. Mike Voss is watching. How are you, sir? Mike says, virtue signaling always leads to problems and hurts society. Dems never consider consequences nor admit their complicity. You know, this is a good point, too. I appreciate you bringing this up because I could understand somebody thinking that, you know, the mandates were a good idea. I could see that, right? I could see someone believing that. But once you see the consequences of that, can't you just go, man, I thought it was right. I was trying to do the right thing, but I was wrong. Let's not do that again. Mike, no, they don't. And if they would, to be forward, I would have some respect if they would say, wow, I was wrong. I thought this was the right thing. I was trying to help. I screwed it all up. This is a terrible idea. Let's never do this again. But they don't. What they do, to your point, is they say, not my fault. Clearly, it's the other guy's fault, or just fate or bad luck or whatever. So now I'll double down. Or the worst one, hey, Mike, I created this problem and you warned me of it. I did it anyway. Now things are worse. So give me more money so I can fix the problem that I created and I'll blame you. That's what actually happens. I wish it wasn't. I wish you were wrong, right? I wish you were wrong. But sadly, you are correct, my friend. You are. It is absolutely terrible that we've done this. It drives me crazy. Yes. So Joel says, Hochul is turning prisons into housing. Oh, is that right? I got to look at that one. Oh, wait a minute. I think I remember that. Okay. Look, would I like to close down prisons? And I want to be clear on this. Of course I would like to, but we have to have less crime and we've got to fix the problems. We can't just close prisons. And the problem is, again, this is virtue signaling. I'm closing prisons because I'm the most generous of monarchs, right? I'm a generous monarch. As queen, I am the best of all queens, and I will allow the peasants to be free, right? That's how she's thinking, and it sounds amazing. And again, I agree, it does sound amazing. But this is to Mike's point, the consequences are terrible. If you're not going to find an answer, and I'll go back to something which is off topic but on topic, immigration. Am I mad that New York City took a bunch of migrants in? In theory, no. In practice, hell yes. Because again, we took them in to virtue signal. See, we're good and glorious. Look at us. And we had no plan and no idea and no budget and no nothing. And it's a disaster. A huge chunk of the people committing crimes, as you know, here in New York City, are migrants. It's just true. A huge chunk are. We had no plan. If you were to tell me, that's not true. What am I saying? I was going to say, if you were to tell me you had a plan, I wouldn't believe them. I wouldn't. If Eric Adams or Kathy Hochul said, we have a plan for migrants, I wouldn't believe them. So that was a lie. All right. If I believed that somebody had an actual plan that could work, I would be okay with them coming. But that's a fantasy. It's a disaster. It's making things worse. It's making crime worse. It's making all of this worse. Am I wrong? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, WYSL, Rochester, New York, Sharpe Radio. Back with your calls and more of your chat, guys. I see you online. I will get to you, I promise, after the break.
Pray for the USA.
WYSL.
Proud to be your local talk station for great American programming.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll have mostly cloudy skies, kind of muggy, just a passing shower or a thunderstorm, but most of the time dry in the 70s. On Wednesday, sun and clouds, humid once again in the mid-80s. Keep an eye to the sky. Could be a gusty, thundery downpour in the afternoon. Those will clear up Wednesday night. Thursday, weather will be improving, turning cooler, less humid with clouds to sunshine in the 70s. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
Your go-to for standard of specialized business insurance coverage. MGM Associates of Rochester, now serving the region and beyond in New York. Since 1984, MGM has provided leading coverage from a wide range of carriers. Not only home, condo, boat, motorcycle, and auto, but also specialized policies for all types of businesses, including nonprofits and law firms, livery insurance, property insurance, and bonds for all needs. MGM Associates of Rochester provides auto, workers' comp, healthcare, and liability coverage. Choose from virtual appointments or good old in-office, in-person consults by appointment at our Penfield office. 5-time consecutive winner of the National Best Practices Award. MGM is proud to support veterans groups. For your personal, business, home, or professional insurance needs, meet the experienced staff at MGM Associates. Locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield. 381-7008 or mgminsure.com. An associate of Michigan Millers Mutual Insurance, 2425 East Grand River Avenue, Lansing, Michigan.
WYSL.
Due to the overwhelming response of Bob Johnson's Buy American bonus, they've extended it through July 31st. Purchase or lease any new Chevy in stock and receive Bob Johnson's $2,000 Buy American bonus. Use it to pay off up to $2,000 in remaining lease payments or get $2,000 more for your trade-in. Use your $2,000 to improve your deal. You'll find multiple ways to save on any new vehicle in stock. You can increase your trade-in value by $2,000. You can wipe out $2,000 in remaining lease payments and find additional dealer discounts. Bob Johnson's $2,000 Buy American bonus has been extended through July 31st. For details, call 1-800-503-9025.
Bob Johnson Chevrolet. Bob Johnson Chevrolet.
We have Keith.
Chevrolet.
Go to BobJohnsonChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
Live harness racing returns to Batavia Downs for the summer of 2024, sponsored by Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center. You won't want to miss opening night on Saturday, July 27th. Enjoy the action from inside our clubhouse. Bring friends and family to watch the great harness racing trackside. Plan more summer fun with a full schedule on BataviaDownsGaming.com. Make a night of it by staying in the beautiful Batavia Downs Hotel. Dine, play, and stay at Batavia Downs.
Hi, this is Emily.
And Jim from Kobe's Ice Cream and Bakery.
Our fresh baked pie selection is bigger than ever.
Our 36 flavors of hard ice cream and Upstate's best frozen custard are yummy.
I'm baking cookies, sweetbreads, and pastries that are extra tasty.
Our hard ice cream milkshakes are to die for.
Everyone loves our cannolis, brownies, and cream puffs.
Can't beat our ice cream sundaes.
Our homemade donuts are the best in town.
Colby's Ice Cream and Bake Shop. Open I-390, exit 11 in Rush.
Open Door Mission is deeply grateful. Because of your generous hearts, you've opened many doors. For those in need to find shelter with respect and dignity. For families who are revitalized with hope and strength. For restored, healthy relationships for those on the road to lifelong recovery. For people empowered with new skills and opportunities. With your continued help, more doors will open. Please go to opendoormission.com.
I'm Carmen Leonardo, licensed associate real estate broker with REMAX Realty Group. Rely on my exceptional skills to get the best deal for your real estate transaction. Thinking about buying or selling? Call or text Carmen Leonardo, 585-233-4119.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes. It is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. So happy that we're having a little bit of an afternoon together. I appreciate that. 585-346-3000 is the number. We have been talking about New York City and New York State, setting up systems that are helping people to commit crimes, supporting systems that are helping people not work. It's crazy. Maybe I'm nuts. I'm going to take a call if I could. This is Keith. Keith, how are you, sir?
Well, probably living like everyone else is trying to live and stay ahead of Biden inflation. Here goes. The way to stop crime is to make it profitable to not have crime. We live in a capitalistic society, hopefully. When you have capitalism, you take anything, even something very negative, and you try to turn it into a positive profit. So I've noticed in my interactions with would-be criminals, to say it somewhat arm's length, that some of these guys are pretty good with their hand and eye coordination. Here goes, everyone. A lot of our tradespeople are retiring and their numbers are not being replaced. Now, if we stereotype that some of these criminals are good with their hands, and they are, let's get to them before they are unduly criminalized and they can never be retrieved. But we're running out of carpenters, electricians, plumbers. If you don't know it, people, in some parts of the country, there are now waiting lists that if you want a carpenter or electrician or tradesperson, you might have to wait a certain number of months, and that's going to be a problem in no more than 10 years. A lot of these young people today on their electronic gadgets don't want to get their hands dirty. So let's, in a positive way, because all of crime is bad, and to say it, of course, negative, but these guys, mainly guys who would go into crime, let's try and reorient them to positive means. Let's have interactions where we can go to them and say to them easily, without them playing us for suckers, we could show you a better way. Now, you're a criminal, but in your more quiet times, you know that's a nowhere ending. Even if you are making a profit, someday you're going to be incarcerated or worse. So I try and be a plain talker. We go to people and we say,
hold on, let me touch that, Keith. You gave me a bunch again. And I think your overall piece is on the money. So let me give you some good and some bad. Here's the good part. If you look at Gen Z, particularly Gen Z males, they are avoiding college relative. I mean, they're still doing it, but relative to the previous generations, and going into trades. That is happening now at a higher rate. Sadly, not as high as I'd like it, but that means some people are getting this, right? So your message is not falling on deaf ears. Some people are hearing it. It is slowly beginning to happen. If you look at it, it is happening already. Second piece, you are right. The average tradesman in New York State is over 50. That is a bad average. Again, I say this all the time. I'm over 50. I love my over 50-year-olds. But that should not be the average. The average should be in the 30s. Not just that, to your point, Keith, the 50-year-old shouldn't have the hammer in his hand anymore. He should be showing how other people should be swinging the hammer. But sadly, a lot of times the 56-year-old is still swinging the hammer. It goes one step further from what you said. One of the reasons why so many people are begging migrants to come, and people go, people don't want them. People do want them. Why? Because they'll do the work you just said. They will be the tradesmen. They will get their hands dirty. They will also be criminals too, but they will also do the work. And I said the same thing. If you want to have less migrants coming to our country, then to your point, Keith, more of our youth must do that work. If they're doing that work, it isn't profitable to bring in the migrants. They won't. Companies are bringing them in because, exactly to your point, they're making money. So I think, yes, you've hit many times, many points with that. And if you remember, as early as 2018, when I ran for governor 6 years ago, I brought this up and I told about the idea of ending high school at 16 years old and allowing kids, if they want to either go to a prep school for college or go right into a trade school and to have the money spent equally without government funding. Because here's the last piece I'll bring up. One of the reasons why what you're saying is true is because our education system gets, in New York State, gets over $6 and maybe $8 billion now. I think it's $8 billion now. $8 billion a year from the federal government to fund education. And part of that is pushing kids into college. That is why when kids are in high school, still to this day now, their guidance counselors tell them, don't go to BOCES, don't go to trade school. That's for the bad kids. That's for the dumb kids. That's what they tell them. They don't go to trade school to make some money. Go to trade school, get a good job. Go to trade school, work with your hands, be somebody. They don't say that. They say go to college is the right answer. Why? They get funded by the federal government. Again, to your idea of money. End the federal money coming into New York State. Give the people the same incentive to go to either college or prep school or to a trade school, and you will see that change. Did I cover all those pieces, Keith?
Yes, very good. Without patronizing you, I agree with all of that, as long as you know that many schools have completely dropped shop class and home ec, just as they've dropped cursive writing. You need that for our young people to have their minds developed. I always use the phrase, when I cursive writing, and I do, I actually think through the very point of the pen. That's so very much needed to develop these mental learning schools in our young people. I can't imagine educators and administrators morally okay with a kid going through 12th grade without knowing cursive writing and getting those better learning skills. But in closing, we need the shop classes, the home ec. But you were saying going right to the trade end of things, but we're not getting that in the schools. And by the time the kids get out, do they know enough then to go into the actual trade schools? I don't think so. Society's going to have to do a much better job. My final example, at the end of the war, Germany knew as a country that many of their youth would not be going to college. Germany's had excellent trade schools since the end of the war. We've got to bring back trade schools in abundance to get these kids' attention that they can make a six-figure salary plus, more than 100%. Anything you could do in college, getting a good salary.
Let me cover three pieces there again. Salary. The average male in America makes about $40,000 a year, 45 to 50,000, depends on where you live in the country, per year, the average. The average tradesman makes over 80. Exactly your point. Now, in certain areas, they're going to make over six figures. Certain areas of the country are going to make maybe 60, 70, 80K. But again, depending upon where you live in the world, in the country, that can be a great living. So you're correct. So the data is correct. But the second piece you brought up, which is shop and home ec, it goes back to federal spending. $8 billion comes in. I think it's 8. It might be only like 7, but it's in that area. Billions of dollars comes into New York State. What do they judge it based upon? They judge it based upon test scores. What's not on the test? Shop, home ec, civics. These things are not cursive writing. It's not on the test. So they've removed it from the school system because there is an incentive financially to instead go just with the English and the math only, the ELA and the math only, because that's on the test where they get paid. Yet again, remove federal funds and local school districts can put on whatever they want. They can bring back shop if they want to, civics, home ec, because again, no money is involved. And the last piece I'll bring up, at least 40% of humans, at least, are what's called kinesthetic learners, which means they learn by physically doing something. This is one of the reasons, to your other point, Keith, that so many of the youth need cursive writing to learn, because taking the notes, the action of taking the notes and writing cursive and thinking while you're writing does assist in people learning, about 40% of the population. So you're pushing a lot of them out. So Keith, yes, yes, and yes. Thanks for the call. So I guess the bigger point here is, what do we do with our youth? Right? Because Keith is right. The vast majority of criminals in America are young men. It's not even close. It's something like 90% are young men. There are some that are older men, but that's rare, and some that are women, but that's rare. It's young men. We do a better job with them, we will also have less crime. And the black market, have more young men doing the right things. We won't require so many migrant workers. We won't require so many prisons. And we can actually shut prisons down at that point. Wouldn't that be great? I think that'd be amazing. Maybe I'm foolish, but I would like it. Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000. Back with your calls and, of course, your chat. I see you after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH. Baseball, hot dogs, and the American flag. They're all part of the rich fabric that makes our country great. Show your American spirit by purchasing your flag from the Stars and Stripes Flag Store today. When you do, you are supporting critically needed services for local veterans at the Veterans Outreach Center. Let's show our veterans that we care by placing our nation's symbol on the porch of every house in our community. The Stars and Stripes Flag Store, 783 South Avenue, Rochester, or visit eflagstore.com.
Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, a locally owned and operated gun shop here for your hunting needs. With changes in New York State laws, they'll work with you to fulfill your needs. Open from 10 a.m. Tuesday through Saturday, Avon Gun, East Main Street, next to Tompkins Community Bank.
Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten Free Bakery has a great deal on Tuesdays. A large 4-topping pizza for $18, regular or gluten-free. Call 226-9575. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten Free Bakery in Avon.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Sharpe Way Radio. So happy you've given me a chunk of your afternoon. I am talking about how New York decides to virtue signal constantly and is actually doing things that make things worse and not helping at all, and then wondering, why are things not working? Boy, is it true. And Keith talked about the idea of us not having shop, cursive writing, home ec, right? I added civics to that. That's me. We should have civics too. Jean says art and music are not funded, but they're essential. She's right. We don't fund it either. It's not on the test, right? If it's not on the test, then why do schools care about it? That sounds cynical, I know. But if you listen to what Keith was saying, he said we want to make an incentive. I agree. The incentive is to not fund art, music, civics, home ec, shop. So we don't. Absolutely. So we don't. Sean asks, hey, Larry, when are you planning to return to Rottenchester? Yes. He also says, Larry talked about 11th and 12th grade trade school for years. Yes, I started in 2017 talking about it. So I started 7 years ago talking about exactly this. Correct. I will be heading back. I'll be doing a full Sharpe. For those of you who don't know, I actually cover New York State. I go to every single county every year. I've done so for 6 years in a row. I will do one this year, probably starting in August, September-ish. And I'll do probably all 62 counties in about 3 or 4 months. So I will wrap it up. I will do my 7th full Sharpe this year too. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yes. John says, what's crazy about this mask and reusing grocery bag system is that it was illegal pre-lockdowns to cover your face. That's true. The law isn't pulled back into place, nor is it being enforced. Correct. It is still officially illegal. They literally just passed the rule against the law. In an attempt to stop crime like 100 years ago, whenever it was, New York City and New York State, there were laws that said you can't be masked in public if there's more than like 2 or 3 of you or whatever it was. There was some rule like that. And I get it. The idea is to stop criminals. And the issue was if the cops saw 2 guys covered in masks and bags outside a store, the cops could go question them. That's not a bad thing to be forward, right? That's not a bad thing. Cops can question it. Yeah. You can call them and say, hey, there's 3 masked men in front of my store. And the cops could come by and question them. See what's going on. If the cops show up, you're bad guys run off. I don't get robbed. Life is good. Can't do that now. There's 3 masked men with large duffel bags in front of my store. Sorry, man. Can't do anything. Good luck with that. Hope they don't rob you. If they do, take pictures if they don't shoot you. That's where we are now. Insanely bad. Yes. Patty says, I need more of your shows, Larry. I agree, Patty. We all do. We absolutely do. John asks, Larry, what's up with the trash can rollout that was done in New York City this week? For those of you who don't live in New York City, you may not know something. We have a bit of a rat problem here. There are more than 3 million rats in New York City. Let me say that again. More than 3 million rats in New York City. There are more rats in New York City than there are people in all of Western New York. Yeah, that's how bad it is. So one of the ways they grow is by feeding on garbage that is outside of large apartment buildings, right? Imagine an apartment building that has 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100 units. How much garbage that puts on the street? Well, the problem is New York City is collapsing. And because it's collapsing, garbage collection has been a problem, a big problem, like garbage sitting on the streets for days. Well, if you put garbage in the streets for days, the rats basically move into the garbage. I'm not joking. They just move into the garbage. So now the sanitation workers don't pick the garbage up because it's infested with rats. The people don't want to hang out because it's infested in rats. You can't walk down the street because it's a rat nest, literally, on the street. So what was the answer? Well, you would think, well, we should then fix garbage pickup. That would make sense, right? No. Have you not been listening to the show? We don't fix things in New York. What we do is we virtue signal. So what we're doing now is, now all the garbage, new rule, John is correct, new rule, must be in a special type of bin that can be closed so the rats can't get in. So we're not going to make the garbage pickup any better. No, that's still going to suck. But you, guy or gal who owns the building or landlord or super, you have to go out and buy all types of new garbage cans and then ensure that all the garbage in the garbage can. And don't let somebody put their garbage on top of that, because you will be fined. That's correct. So now not only do you have to put it there, but you now have to basically create a trash can security force. I'm not joking, because don't let someone walk by and put trash on top of it. The sanitation guys will come by, see it, and ticket you. They won't pick up your garbage. They'll just ticket you. So now they've turned this problem that they created into a profit center. You might say, Larry, that sounds crazy. Oh, no, that's real. They said, we're incompetent and we screw everything up. We don't have enough money because we're throwing it away on everything else, like migrants and trouble, and people are leaving our city. So let's make this a profit center. That's a good idea. And what will happen is, if you are a large building owner, you can afford this. It'll suck. It's going to hurt you, but you're still eating. You'll be fine. You'll get over it. You will get over it. But what if you happen to be a family that, say, came from Italy, Greece, Nigeria, came here 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, saved enough money to buy one apartment building in, say, Brooklyn or Queens, and you own a building that has like 6, 4, 8 apartments in it, you're already getting hammered left and right. During the lockdowns, people didn't pay their rent. You got hammered. You had to get rid of everything. There was a time here when literally they were arresting landlords. If they would, I'm not joking, if they would harass their renters to pay their rent, they were going to jail. That was happening here. Now, if you own massive real estate, you got somebody else in it. You don't go to jail. But when you're a family guy, a family gal, you go to jail. So now they're going to get crushed. So this will be, again, another way to crush the little guy, another way to virtue signal, and to not fix anything. So you asked the question, John? I gave you an answer. Yes. I know you probably thought that already, but I had to make sure that was going to be there. So yes. Snark Y2K says, did your mayor just buy a trash can company? No, but I'm sure one of his donors owns one. I'm not even joking. That's how things work, right? Because this is how it works. You make sure that you create a law which creates a job so that now they keep voting for you. So he didn't buy one, but I'm sure someone else does. 100%. I'm sure that happened. So yes. Gina is very savvy. She says, if they fix things, how could they keep getting elected? Again, I wish you were wrong. Cindy says, over 3 million rats. I can assure you many of them vote in New York City. It's, you know what? It's not a bad plan. I mean, that's 3 million votes. You're pretty much set. That's not a bad deal. So, and they're born in New York City. Make some citizens. I'm with you, Cindy. That is actually a good deal. I do like that. Yes. Phil says, these are big hybrid rats, with genetics from all over the world. Albany used to have a hockey team called the River Rats. My grandmother thought a rat in her basement was a rabbit when she first came to America. Well, did she cut them up and cook them? Maybe she, can you eat rat? I don't even know. I mean, maybe you could. Are we going to have to eat the bugs and the rats? Is that how that's going to work, Phil? Are they setting us up for that? Maybe they are. But yeah, rats are a massive problem in New York City, 100%. And again, we solve nothing. I wish we would. We virtue signal. So now we're going to see all these new garbage cans on the streets of New York City. See, look how good it is. Look how awesome it is. We care. But then here's the worst part. Some of you, if you live in New York City, know. When we have massive rain and flooding, rats come up out of the sewers. And they wind up coming into your house or apartment. I'm not joking. That actually happens. They start coming up into your, because they can't be in the sewers. They'll drown. So what happens when the rats can't eat garbage? They're going to starve? They're going to start looking for food in your house or your apartment. It doesn't get easy if you don't solve the problem. That's the biggest problem. Virtual signaling feels good. I get it. It doesn't solve a problem. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for giving me another chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.
I will rise.